Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. It seems like the channel's going pretty well. What I wanted to, and we'll see after this video how well it goes, but I wanted to talk to you guys about profanity in the martial arts. When I was with Grandmaster Gene Chicoine, teacher, he used profanity a lot. I use profanity a lot. I use it in my everyday life. I'm not going to lie about that. I've abstained from using it on this channel. And when I was at teacher school, there was another instructor that he taught the beginner classes, and that he came up to me one Thursday evening and he said, man, Steve, you cuss really well here. He goes, do you cuss at your school? And I told him that I cussed one time and that I said, damn. And I apologized to the students, and that was it. But that was over the course of 10 years. I said, damn, one time. That was the only foul word I used. But it was a business, and there was also a lot of children. Even with the adults, I didn't really use profanity because it's a business. It was my business. And so I didn't know who would be offended and who wouldn't. And if you think, man, there's a fly or something bugging me. But if there was, right now, I don't know how many people are going to get offended by this video or not. I know one thing is that people that use profanity are not offended when you abstain from profanity, like I've been doing for how many years on this channel. And it's been bugging me. And like I said, a couple months ago, I was talking to my wife about it because I was thinking, man, this is not who I am. I use profanity. Well, anyways, getting back to the story, this instructor, he said to me, after he had asked me about cursing at my school, I asked him, why is he asking? And he said that teacher told him he wanted him to use profanity in the class, to, cuss at the students. And I said, well, why? You don't cuss. And he said, well, that's what I thought. I don't cuss. And he's wanting me to cuss when I'm teaching at his school. And I said, do you know why? He said that Grandmaster Chicoine, teacher, said that he said it because when he went into the military, World War II, that the drill instructors and that will cuss you out, but it makes you pay attention and get to where you need to be faster. It's used as a tool. You'll see police use it as a tool to control somebody. You better freeze, or whatever. Get out on the fucking ground. Because that language will sink in deeper, I guess. When I used to teach self-defense classes, the ladies, and I would do like a 3 or 4 week thing where they came in every Saturday, and there was a lot of profanity used because some ladies are not even used to having profanity used toward them. And to have some of my friends there that look like hoods and thugs and and robbers and all of that kind of stuff, they would start, bitch, what the fuck are you looking at? And it sends people into a shock mode. And I knew that they needed to get over that in order to defend themselves. So after 4 weeks, and I would film every fight because we'd have a red man suit. It would be the profanity, the yelling, the grabbing, the invading their space, and then they had to fight, and so you see how they fight in the beginning, and you take them over to the television and we start playing it, and and I show them, look how you froze up, look how close you let me get to you before anything even happened. You let me invade your space. And after a few weeks, they really got comfortable and they could fight back, and you could see the progress. And so I wondered, I told that instructor, dude, you don't cuss, don't worry about it. I wouldn't do it if I were you, or if you want to start cussing at the class, go for it. But why I'm bringing this up now, and like I said, I've been wanting to do this video for a couple of months, was yesterday. I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning, and then I was doing things around the house, and I was busy with stuff, and then about 9:45 in the morning, man, I felt like, man, I need to take a nap because I went to bed at like 10 the previous night, woke up at 2:30. And so I went to take a nap, and I'm laying there and I'm scrolling through Instagram, and then I come across a little short video that my daughter-in-law did, and it just basically, it was showing my son working out on the solo pads, and it said something like, when you're feeling lazy or you're unmotivated, do me a favor and take a deep breath and remember who the fuck you are. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if it was that F-bomb or the remember who you are, but I got out of bed. I put my shoes on. I got up here and put in some rounds, and I was just sweating. And I'll tell you what, it really motivated me in a different way. It was almost like teacher yelling, because I've told you guys this before. When we would do Xing Yi, there would be people here like this. And if you look, that back foot is only about an inch off. And people would be here, and teacher would go down the line after they did drilling or whatever, and their foot's here instead of here. And he would flip out. You stupid motherfucker, how many goddamn times do I need to tell you, straighten your fucking foot out? And well, that's what kept me on the straight and narrow, because I did not want this man yelling and cussing at me. So I made sure I would do drills where I wouldn't punch, and I'm just doing the footwork to keep those feet straight. And it was, like I told you guys probably, or a lot of you guys are newer here, after about 10 years, he said, do you know why I flip out about your feet? Because if your feet aren't straight, the energy won't flow properly through your body. In Bagua, we do circle walking, we do slow walking, and it's real good in the snow because you can see your footprints, and you look back and you see that laziness happening in your body when you're taking steps and your toes are facing outward instead of perfectly straight, the way your energy needs them to be for you to flow properly, for the energy to flow in your body properly. So getting back to the point of this whole video about profanity, to me, profanity is simply just words. They're not harmful to me. They're just simply words. And like I said, the people who aren't offended, by profanity being used are people who use profanity. So none of them are, going to unsubscribe to me because I don't use profanity in the video. The only people that will be offended by it is that people who don't use profanity and don't want someone else to use the profanity. You know what I mean? So I think I'm just going to start being myself and as real as I can be. And another thing too is that remember who you are. I don't give a shit now if you're 40, if you're 60, if you're 70 years old. Remember who the fuck you are. I mean, you are all martial artists. And if the martial ain't there, you're just a fucking artist. William said that many a time. Martial comes first, then the art. So, you really have to have your martial down pat. I mean, I see videos all the time where people get mugged or whatever and jumped at a Subway or whatever. Not at a Subway restaurant, but like at a Subway, taking a train. The thing about it is, I've been in real sketchy areas, and I see that people don't look at me like that because they can see I'm not a mark. Are you becoming a mark because you're 65 years old now? Are you becoming a mark because you were in a car accident and you have a limp now or something? My Bagua teacher used to, the first thing he would do is have you stand in Wuji, a void position, and stand there. And some people would stand there with their shoulder like this. And he would tell them to straighten out their shoulder. And they would say, oh, I had an accident and my shoulder is like that. And I understand, but continue to try to straighten it out. So if you have a problem, continue to try to straighten it out. That's who the fuck you are. I mean, or have you become somebody else? So, that remember who you are has been haunting me. I mean, I've been hearing video after video and people that I listen to and respect on YouTube. They don't know me. I don't know them personally. But they will say to me, they'll say on the video, remember who you are, remember who you are. And it's like, why are they saying remember who I am? I know who I am. Well, sometimes we forget, and I know I forgot. And that's why I'm only doing 1 minute rounds on these pads, because I'm not at that 3 minute, 5 minute mark anymore. So remember who I am. I was doing 3-5 minutes on pads, on heavy bags, on Wave Masters, whatever, and with no problem. Your cardio wasn't an issue. Now it is. So remember who you are and do something the fuck about it. I mean, that's all I can say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't offend too many people. If you unsubscribe, I understand. That's your prerogative. That's your business. But I hope you stay with me, because we're going to get in some deep shit here. All right. So you guys take care. If you found something that you liked about the video, hit the like button. If you, haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I'm going to put that little video that got me out of bed yesterday and got me training my ass off. All right. I'm going to put that at the end of this video. So I hope you guys enjoy everything. Have a great week. Peace be with you.